All right, I hope you can hear me. Hello, welcome to another video. This is the cool guy, and in this video, we are going to go ahead and we're going to fully skin and paint the weight on this character. So we're normally always going to start with the skin, and then afterwards, once we're done with the skin, we're going to copy the weights from the skin onto his actual clothes right here. So once when we do that, then we will be set and ready to go for this character to actually be able to have put controls on him and get them ready to actually be put into game engine. So with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna just start by just going through and let's go ahead and let's get the skinning. So I already started off with the stomach. Now we're gonna go ahead and do this. So I do both sides genuinely. You can technically, so when you're actually rigging, you can really do one side and basically go through and just simply just color just that one side. That's what I normally do for pretty much all my rigs, and then I copy and paint the weight afterwards. I will do another video, so because I still do have some other npcs that I do have to get done too as well, that we're gonna have to go through and basically put skeletons in them once when I get them out of ZBrush and all that stuff, and basically put them in from ZBrush into actual Maya. So normally what this one does, it starts it off with a piece right here and then a piece in the back. But if you want the character to not break or look wonky or weird when trying to actually turn or whatnot, add the weight. Add the weight to both sides. Because what happens is that when you go to try to, you know, move the character, and I'll show you once when we get done with this. When you go to try to move the character around, basically it'll have a weird deformation, so it's best just to add it now than wait later, because trust me, it'll be detrimental. So let's see here. So while I'm doing all this, what I'm going to go ahead and do is, while this is going on and recording, I am going to play some music and basically go from there. So that way you're not bored watching this video. So let me go ahead and do exactly that. Set you up. Let's set you up. Let you listen to this awesome music while I'm actually doing this. Here we go. So there we go. We're gonna do exactly that. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna stay quiet from this point on. So enjoy the music while I'm actually doing this. All right, so as you can see right there, basically, I'll make sure that we have a good transition between the wrist by basically twisting it side to side and all that good old stuff, and basically going up and down. So that way, you don't go through and try to basically over bend or over twist. So you know exactly where it'll actually stand at. So when you go to move it down, we're good there, and then it doesn't have too much weird deformation. We want to give it just a nice little equivalent balance to it. So that way, if you have a character that needs to pop right back up, you can do that, especially with doing little minor details when it comes to doing combat and all that stuff. It will come in handy. So trust me when I tell you this, it will definitely come in handy. So we did the fingers. Some of the fingers are a little off, but there's nothing that we can't do, like go back and edit it, of course. But if we just do that and fully get this going right there, you know what I'm saying? We don't really have to necessarily go through and do that, but it's basically just to show that the actual rig itself actually works. So we'll just go like this. You know, the fingers like off of Super Smash Brothers when they do that one weird attack with the bumblebee fingers and all that stuff. So yeah, all right, cool. So you get what I mean. You just go through and you check those. And you make sure that the weights look really good there. Now you go. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna move on to the next part, which is gonna be the neck. So I had to stop the music for a little bit just so that way you know exactly how long this process actually does take. So it does take quite a minute because yeah, like I just said, you got this side that we have to worry about, but we're not going to have to worry about the side because there's some special buttons that are actually in the engine that are actually in Maya that can actually help us to get done with this a little faster. So we're just going to go through, just rotate around. So the one thing about the 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 neck transition or the joint 2 going into the neck is that you will need just a little bit of leeway when it comes to the actual spine. So this will be technically what we call the top part of the spine. So right here, this is joint number 2. You want to actually leave a lot of that there, a lot of weight there, because especially when it comes to doing rotating around the neck and all that stuff too. It also actually helps out with weight performance and distribution as well. So let's see, go right here. Spine 1, we just go right here. We'll start to eliminate top part to where we're just mostly worried about it being more closer to the neck. And we'll just leave that a little bit. All right. Color the weights there as well. So next, what we will do afterwards, we're gonna attack the 2 head pieces first. So we'll do top neck joint. So this top neck joint is going to be the most crucial part because this is what's going to help out with the foundation of actually coloring weight around the neck and stuff. So you really want to use this part. It says top neck joint. Use it exactly as it means, top neck joint. You can do this for both your head and your neck. So make sure that both the weights are there for both parts. We'll just swoop around because we're not going to be lazy. We're just going to fully get it done. There we go, just like that. Because afterwards we're going to find the other joint which goes to his head, and we're going to color the weights to where it's going to cover the top half of this. So we're going to do that. And we are like 20 minutes in, so I'm just going to see exactly how fast we can go to get this done. Because painting weights does take a very long time, especially when you're a beginner. So it's nothing like just clicking and just scrub. You can click and scrub, but I normally do a lot of clicking, so this helps out with just getting like all the full main base of the whole area. There we go. And just scrub, wipe around just like that, and done and done. All right, so now what we're going to look for the head joint, which is this part right here. This is normally going to cover up to a certain particular degree, but you really want to have it really cover up all this whole area because this is your head joint. You do not want it covering the whole thing. So trust me when I tell you this, you don't want it covering the whole thing. You want it to just cover up a good head amount. So basically where she says head, you fill it in where the head part goes. So here it is. Cover this area right here. Scrub this out right there. And there we go. So now again we're going to smooth this out. And this is what makes a difference between using regular assets and then just building your own for your own story, because you know what I'm saying, a lot of people, they will go through and they'll use assets already made in the game engine store and be like, oh well, this is good enough because I don't have the ability to draw. Sometimes you gotta just, take that chance on yourself, and you gotta just draw it. You know what I'm saying? You gotta learn how to do it. The less you practice, the less you're not gonna be good at it. The more you don't give yourself a chance at actually getting it done, the more it's not gonna ever happen for you. So this is my way of showing you, like, go out there and make this happen. And this is basically sit your butt right here in this chair and make it happen, mister. And this is pretty much what we are doing right now. So now that we got this all done, right, we're gonna go back to the neck joint, top neck joint. And what we can do, just get rid of some of the top head joint right there. So that way it'll just be more focused. All the weight will be more focused on the neck. It won't be focused on the real top of the head. So we'll just kind of zip juice down just like that. And then we'll just clean up this weight right there. And you just clickety click click clickety click 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 all the way through, just like so. It's a lot of clicks, especially when it comes to doing the weight and everything. I think you got to have like a certain rhythmic technique to it when it comes to doing the clicking. So now here's the fun part. This is where the fun part begins. So messing with lips and doing all that stuff, you got to go through. See, a lot of people try to take it at face value and try to, stay on the outside and be like, oh, well, I'm done. That's it. That's good. No, you got to zoom around, walk around, look up, and you got to just zoom on in, capture all those pieces, and you go through, you just color it as much as you can, just like that. And what will happen is that when we go to the top lip, which is right here, we'll actually be able to get rid of the bottom part, like so. But you want to keep the top part because it is an even distribution in exchange. And then you just zip on out, you go around, and you color that whole area up. You're going to do the same thing for the bottom part of it. And that right there would only take us like probably a couple minutes at best to do so. There we go. So we get that. Clear out the bottom. Go to the bottom lip. Clear out the top. Because both of them are closed and adjacent. And you don't want any extra weight around that area. There we go. Alright, sweet and sweet. Okay, so when you get to a certain point, be sure that you actually save. So you go to File, Save. Instead of Rig Start, you're going to call it Rig Start. And you hit that save. Because you don't want to go through and basically it crashes on you, and then you have to do all that work again, and then you get really sad, and then you be like, that guy was an a-hole for not showing me this other stuff. So I'm just showing you this now. There you go. Right there, you color this weight in. Bada bing, bada boom, we're good to go. Same thing right here. Yes, I know there's AI, the way to go, and it can already do all this kind of stuff and make things all realistic. But at the same time, though, there's you, there is you, and if you have a story and you have an idea, don't give it to the AI. Just go ahead and do it yourself. Have the AI help you write the stuff out, but you gotta just go through and just get that going. I know I talk about random stuff, but let me go ahead and I'll take it back to the get off the rant. Oh, ooh, no, let's not do that. Oh, I thought I got that part. I guess I did not. So we're gonna go through and we're just gonna get rid of this whole area right here, and we'll just do that right there. So in truth and actuality, so when it comes to painting these weights and all that stuff, you gotta make sure that you just give yourself a nice even distribution of weight and all that good old jazz, and make sure that there's no extra weights around in the area, especially in places where they're not supposed to be. Let's see. Oh yeah, this is my favorite part. So doing the bottom lip and top lip, you gotta just again make sure that you fully color it in all the way. The B. You use the B key to size it down. There we go. Go on the inside. Make sure that you get the spot that you want. There we go. And then what we're going to do, we're going to highlight it. We know that the weight's going to be right there, so we're not too worried about that. Through the middle chin, of course. Make sure you get all the full middle chin. Because where lips are supposed to be is where lips are supposed to be. Oh no. Go on. Alright. There we go. Let that chin just cover the whole area. It's all good. Alright. And then you're going to just highlight. Because remember, what we're going to do after this is going to be just a couple of quick little neat tricks. A couple of clicks. So we have the bottom lip right here. And now we're going to do the top lip. Yeah. So if you don't ever properly fill in the weights and stuff, it will go through and do exactly that. It'll zero itself all the way down in the middle. And that's something that you don't want. So you go right here, go back to bottom lip. Ugh, disgusting. This top one is the bottom lip. This one's the top. Ooh. Okay, so we're gonna make this brush really small since it wants to fight us on this logic. There we go. Do exactly that. And you highlight like so. And you take that bottom lip area. Make sure you scrub out what was at the top. There we go. And now you got what is mostly colored here at the bottom, and then we are going to do vice versa. Because we don't need that stuff. Bottom lip's already covered. All we want is the top. There we go. You go in like so. Color in that weight. And we are good to go. You color in that weight and we are good to go. So basically you have to go through and just, alternate in between both. Make sure that one part is filled to the top as the other. And then, then afterwards you just move right on because now it's all the right side. So we're going to just stay with just the left side. So now this is another tricky problem area right here too as well. So we're just going to highlight these. There we go. So just highlight them as a start. We're not going to do too much detail work on them. And for the meanwhile, leave it right where the right is and then mess with that left. Stay on the left and just mess with the left and scrub that stuff out and get it as clean and close to good looking as possible. But before we move on, let's do this lip in right here. So that way it doesn't take too much control right here. I'm just gonna delete some of that segment. There we go. Ooh, 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 that was cool. Ooh, yep. Some spots will be a little finicky, so all you gotta do is just do that. And there we go. So now it's only gonna just control this area right here. It's only gonna control this area right here. So I'm not sure if you heard me, but hopefully in the video you will hear me when I'm saying this. But let's go ahead and we're gonna move on to how the left nose. We're gonna start doing the top of the eyelid. Did I forget to do the bottom eyelid? I believe I did, because whenever it does something like that, you gotta go right here. So we're gonna press Shift P. So that means it's also for this side too. We're gonna go right here. So if you ever see that it doesn't have what you need right there, you just go right here to skin, add influences, and you add the influences there. And then you take that skin, you take those joints, and then you parent them back. So now both of them have it. So if we scroll down, both should be there now. Bottom eyelid. Yep, there it is. All right, take this. Highlight color this in like so. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom. We're gonna just leave this like this for now. And then we'll go to top eyelid. We're gonna color all this in. So top eyelid is very, very important. The top eyelid is very, very important because you need it. Oh, oh my goodness, hold on. No. Let's go back. There we go. No, I don't want vertices. What the fudge did I just do? Hold on. Always hit that Control Z. Nope, nope, that didn't work. Let's see, we want to do that. Okay, yeah, we just want to paint. That's not good. Okay, so I think I kind of screwed up because I don't know what I did. Oh no! There we go. I had to just get off of vertex mode and then basically go from there. So that's what we did. That was a scary slip up right there. That could definitely waste time and consume time as well. So you don't ever want to go through that. Okay, so I'm just gonna go through and make sure that this eyelid is fully clean. Ooh, no. Didn't realize it had that much weight. Okay. There we go. Just fine, because what we're gonna do, we're gonna end up just cleaning up that weight once we're done anyway. So now we got that done. We go to the bottom eyelid and we reverse and hit it again. So then this time, everything that's on the bottom of it just worries strictly on the bottom of it. You won't see all these vertices on the inside, but trust me, they play a huge role in the pivotal moments of you doing weight painting. So we got the nose, middle nose, left eyebrow. We can actually go through and clean this up right here, so that way it doesn't overtake everything. So here we go. Just leave that right there. Okay, so we have this eyeball. And it's going to be a really neat trick that I'm going to show you too. And this is all going to be at the end of the video. And it looks like we're going to be taking a full hour on this. So I don't mind. When I learned this trick, I was feeling some kind of way. So we're going to take this down. Clean this weight right here. We'll clean this weight there. There, done and done. All right, so now we got that done. We're gonna just go ahead and just fully color the rest of these eyebrows. There we go. Yeah, see how much weight it took here at the top? Unnecessary. We don't need all that weight there. And you just clear that up. With dense polygons and stuff, especially with a high-end computer, it can definitely take a long time to get all this stuff cleaned up and everything. So it's good to always use the low poly, and we're always going to use low poly anyway because a lot of games don't really require too much, ultra hyper realistic stuff. So just as long as you have the good, normal maps and all that stuff for your characters, then nobody could really even tell. All right, looks like we are done with all that. Let's see. Let's go back to. Oh, cheekbone. Ooh, we would have missed the most pivotal part, the cheekbones. Let's make sure we don't have any triangles going down the grid. We are good. All right, clear this whole area off. Clear this whole area up. Here. Clear all nearby the ears and the eyelid. We're only going to just keep this one section right here for the cheekbone structure. There we go. Do that for right here too as well. So when you go to do an animation where a character makes contact with another character's face, you'll be able to use these extra controls to do exactly that. Well, I'm going to use them definitely because that's why I placed them there. But maybe for your rigs, if you ever start doing yours, one day you can do the same thing with yours as well. You just place the rigs right around the pivotal cheekbone areas because that adds definition to the actual, animations for your characters. So let's see. Right here. Right eyebrow. Eyelid. Yep. So just clean some of this up. That way it just worries all about the bottom eyelid right here. There we go. Got that there. Now that we got done with all that and the eyes and all this stuff, I'll show you once we're done with this video. When we get closer to the end of the video, I'll show you all this stuff of how all this is going to work. And you're going to be amazed. You're going to be like, wow, that's pretty epic, dude. I'm pretty sure a lot of other people have done this before, but, they're not quite like me. So that's what makes me unique and special. They're not like me, dang it. They're not like me. So, gave you a little bit of music at the beginning, but we're going to go ahead and, once we get done with this part right here, I'm going to go ahead and restart back up the music for a little bit. So that way you're not too bored. with the whole ordeal. So let me go ahead and do exactly that. Oh yeah, this is the one. All right. So enjoy the rest of the music, and then once when I get done, I'll tell you more about the pivotal stuff afterwards. right. So as you saw, I used a tool called the mirror weights tool. So where you would find that here in the skin mirror weights, and you press that box, and then you make sure. So if you worked on the right side, then you would click this one from negative x from positive to negative, which means inverse. So if you worked on the right side, it would switch and make sure that all the weights that you worked on the right side went to that way. And if you have this off, everything that was on the left goes to the right. So in that way, you don't go through and have confusing times when it comes to doing the whole weight thing and all that stuff. So that's one way of actually getting it done quick. And we are about to hit an hour on this actual video. Just gonna color these in real quick. So I'm going through right now and just basically just doing all the little quick stuff before we get to the other one real quick. And yes, it does have a little bit of nudity in it because it's going to be a rated M for mature title game. It's not going to be a teen for teen game or anything like that. I know teenagers are pretty essential and a pivotal point, but this game in particular, I definitely had to make it for mature because of language and all that stuff too as well. So yes, it does have very strong language in the game. I will admit that. But for the most part, there we go. We're gonna just take these. Ooh, I didn't ask for all that. I just want the tongue. I'm just gonna go through and we're gonna do the same thing here. We're just gonna clean up all this weight. Make sure that all this weight blends in together. Because a lot of teachers, they'll go through and try to teach you something called interactive. And interactive is probably, I would say, one of the worst ways of actually rigging anything in this industry ever. Because what happens is that with the rig in interactive, you have a whole bunch of pieces. I mean, it would be great if it's for dismemberment, but even then, you don't even want to use that for dismemberment. You want to still use post because the weight, all it will do is just spread around and it will just cause you hell, and you'll be a sad, sad customer. And that's something that you don't ever want. All right. So we're gonna go through. We're just gonna hyphy this up. This all nice and cleaned up, like so. And boom. Do the same thing here. We clean this up all the way like so, and there we are. We are done with this thug. So now you see, got this done. Got both sides of this done, and watch this. We got flesh eye movement, so we can actually see that around the eyeballs right here that the flesh actually moves and it goes up and down. So just like an actual, human eyes and all that stuff. There we go. Let's see. Our eyelids right here, they close. So if we pull them up, pull them forward, close. If you want to just use only the bottom eyelids only. Because remember, we also have the top ones and they go all the way. So if you don't want to do too much, you don't have to, but you can just do that. Or you can go through and we can just clean up the weight right there and then go from there. But for the sakes and purposes, we're not going to really see them blink as much or anything unless we do, up close camera zoom ins and all that stuff to show, that kind of ordeal. So we have to have the camera up on them like this, and then we're just seeing them just doing that whole, oh my God, blink, blink. you know, you, you have that option. So make sure that everything is all cleaned up weight wise, and afterwards, let's go ahead and we're gonna do this last neat little trick. So you click this character right here, and you click the thing that you want to have. Since these already all have weights on them, and I'll show you. See, there's weight there. Click on the object, and you hit kaboom. Now, and I'll show you in a minute once when I get done with all this. You want to go through and just click on every last one of these. Highlight, because the main body is the one that has all the weights that are needed, so you don't have to go through and redo your distribution of weight again. So this is the fastest way of just getting the weight that you already did on top of your actual character. There we go. Bing, bada boom. Take these shoes. All right, so if we rotate, foot has a nice little bounce to it from the ankle, because we had, remember, the ankle doesn't control a whole lot of stuff, only the ball of foot does. Especially if you want to, move it up and down, but you're gonna need an IK handle for that to get that to work. But basically, if we really wanted to, if you did just regular forward kinematics and stuff, it would go like this, but you really want to use the E key to go like this. So it shows the actual movement of all the hard work that you actually did. And it doesn't have a nice break or anything. It doesn't have weird polygon deformation. So all that stuff is all nice and cleaned up and ready to go. So now we just got one little thing that we got to do left, which is this jacket. Because I'll show you why. If you go right here, we'll just click on all these, because this is all for his bottom mouth jaw area. The jacket's not supposed to move while he's, talking. Like, so if he's going like, hey, it's that Creek Future Star. You know what I'm saying? You don't want the jacket to move along with him. So what you want to do is just go through, take this, go to tools. Nobody really knows about this stuff because no one ever teaches them the correct stuff to do it online. So yeah, and that's also including with metahumans and all that stuff too as well. So you just do the same thing. You just go through and just color all the areas where you're all patched up at. For some reason, it adds those patches in there, and it's not really supposed to, do it like that much. So we'll just go through and we'll clean it up. We'll do it because we're epic. We're epic ass people. So I'll just cut right here for a little bit. Ooh, too much. Okay. Let's do that like so. Just clean up all this weight. Add that in there like so. And it looks like we are about to hit the hour mark. So we are so close. Oh my goodness. Dang, I can't believe we got done with this within a full hour. And we had some music all in between, which is really cool. Which will make for a pretty great video. So there we go. Color this all in like so. Take this top spine part. We're going to just delete this. We don't need it there. Since we got the jacket too already fully covered in. We will not need this to rotate or anything. We don't want none of that weight, and we don't want none of this top neck stuff to rotate around. We want to just keep it nice and static. You only add a little extra weight if you put extra joints around the jacket if you want it to flap all uncontrollably. But since these are NPCs, we don't have to worry about that kind of stuff. We're not going to be up on them like that unless we do some real up close shots and there's particular NPCs you want to have that kind of stuff. Then of course, I mean, like, there's nothing wrong with adding those details in there. It's only me, so what you're saying. I'd be the only one doing all that. So that's done. Okay, so we got joint 6 right there. That's good. Joint 7. That's cool, but we want to go through and we're going to just color all the joint 7. Because we really want to get rid of the hip. We don't really want this jacket to move right along with his hips. I mean, there wouldn't be anything wrong with it, but maybe we can do dynamics in game engine when we go and do that. I would have to learn how to do that for all these jackets and stuff, and go from there. So just fully color this in, and as you can see, we are almost close to the cusp of an hour. This took us about an hour to do. Real quick, swift, and easy. There we go. And we take this, we just delete all of this extra because we don't want it there. We don't want to add to the movement of his jacket at the bottom because his hips will move on his over there. All right. So now we got that done. Show you what I'm talking about. So if I click all these, hold on. So go 1, 2. Now if we rotate this, you have a nice rotation. We go from right here, we see we got a weird rotation there. So without the IK handles and stuff, it's gonna be all weird. But let me say this: at the end of all this, the characters' deformations are not gonna be weird now. Move him upward. Move the shoulder around the side and side, which is not bad because when it comes to the fight poses and stuff, you're not gonna really see them up close when it comes to doing that kind of stuff. I was just saying, we have our. I mean, he's pretty good with his jeans and all that stuff. So if I go and do this, it's kind of got a weird little deformation there. We can always just fix that for later. But the generalization of the painting of a weight of this NPC is done. So I want to straight say thank you very much for joining me on this video today. You guys are truly epic. I really appreciate your time and effort of actually, sitting back and actually watching this video. So do me a favor, please be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this and see, more NPCs and characters getting done in this fashion. And I know it's a real, I would say a real time. Well, it's not a time consuming thing because it only took us an hour to get done. So it can't be that time consuming now, can it? Anyways, thank you so much for your time. And again, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It definitely helps out for the videos, and it definitely helps out this channel to basically boost and get onto the YouTube algorithm, especially for when it comes to doing development and actual development, pipelines and all that stuff, and basically getting stuff ready for game engine. Anyways, take care and have yourself a wonderful day.